Hey everyone, Joey here from the technical account management team here at Equinix, and I'm joined today once again by my good friend and colleague David. In the previous installment of the series, we talked shop regarding Equinix Metal and covered some of the basic questions a prospective Metal user might have regarding what Metal is all about and who it's for. So last time we covered the who, what, when, and why, and as promised, we're back to talk about the where and how. Thanks again for joining me, David. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joey. Thanks for having me again.
So I'm here in the Equinix Metal console. Let's play this out as if I'm a newly onboarded customer. Walk me through where I ought to go first.
Fantastic. So first and foremost, we need to have you add an SSH key to your Metal profile. This key will be used for authentication into the provision systems over SSH, as well as our SOS console that provides out-of-band access to the Metal instances. So to get started with that, let's click the profile icon in the upper right corner and select My Profile from the drop-down menu. Excellent. Now click the SSH Keys tab. From here, please click the Learn About SSH Keys link there off to the right. This takes you out to the Metal public documentation and provides instructions for the uninitiated around how to create an SSH public-private key pair. Instructions for both SSH Keygen on Mac and Linux CLI, as well as PuTTY for Windows users, are included in the documentation.
So as I already have an existing SSH key that I've created with PuTTY Keygen, this ought to be pretty easy, right?
Indeed. Perfect. Let's head back to the previous tab where we were looking at your Metal profile. Adding an SSH key is as simple as a quick copy-paste of the contents from the public key file that you previously generated. So just click the Add New Key button and fill in the fields from the flyout on the right side of the page. As you can see, you'll give the key a name, paste in the contents of the public key file, and then if you have access to existing Metal instances, you can associate this key with those systems down below. Please note that this association will only grant you access to the SOS console of existing systems. It will not provide you with SSH access. This is because Equinix does not have access to the instances after provisioning is complete. So new users' SSH keys will have to be added to the authorized key file of each system by someone on the team who already has access. Alternatively, the systems can be re-provisioned from the Metal console and can have the newly added key included at provisioning time.
Now, are there any organizational privileges or role-based access type tasks that I need to worry about right now before we get started?
Great question. During the account creation workflow, new users will be prompted to create a Metal organization where they'll enter details like their desired payment method, as well as maintenance and abuse contact emails. They'll also be prompted to create their first Metal project within that organization. The user will be set up as the owner of the org and project, so they'll have complete control over both. There are some additional details we can discuss about the level of role-based access control available in Metal today, but I think that would be a great topic for a subsequent installment.
I think that's a great idea. So we'll go ahead and save those questions for later. Now, I see two options here, on demand or reserved. Can you walk me through what the difference is here and who are these solutions targeted at?
Another great question. Reserved systems are servers that a customer has contracted with us, and those come with some sort of commitment term like 12 months or a 36-month contract. This option provides customers with a bit of a discount on their monthly cost because they're making that commitment. Customers can also request customized hardware be installed in their contracted systems, like additional RAM or storage. Finally, reserved hardware is billed by the month. On-demand systems, on the other hand, are limited to what we have available in each metro. Our most popular metros are stocked with many different systems of different shapes and sizes, the details of which can be found on our digital services website, deploy.equinix.com. On the Deploy site, in the pricing page, customers can also find a cost calculator that will show them the on-demand and contracted costs of our various server types. Finally, on-demand hardware is billed by the hour, so customers can spin up and spin down these systems in a much more flexible manner.
So would it be fair to think of reserved systems like a table reservation at a restaurant, whereas on-demand systems are kind of like grabbing a seat at the bar?
Perfect comparison. With a reservation, you know what to expect when you show up, where on demand is more of a first come, first served situation.
All right, so let's walk through that on-demand piece for the time being.
Great. So to get started, select the on-demand option from the menu on the left of the page. In this form, we'll first select the desired metro, then the t-shirt size of server you're wanting to deploy from the Choose Your Server section. Please note that the options here can vary by selected metro based on available stock. Also, we can hover over the I icon next to the server type to get some additional details about the hardware complement for each type. For this demo, let's use the Dallas Metro and the m3.small.x86 server type. Next to server type, you can see the logo icons for the various operating systems we curate and test for each type, as well as the hourly on-demand cost. Next, let's scroll down to the Choose Your Operating System section. From here, you can select the OS distro and version that you'd like to deploy on the selected server. This list will vary based on the selected server type above. For this demo, let's select Ubuntu Linux and the 22.04 LTS version from the dropdown. Next, let's look at the Select Number of Servers section a bit farther down the page. Here, we'll set the host name of the system you're going to deploy, and we can specify up to 5 names so we can provision up to 5 systems at a time with the options entered above. To deploy more than 5 systems at a time, you can use the Metal CLI as well as our APIs directly or with a tool like Terraform. In the optional settings, you can specify desired IP details, user data, SSH keys, tags, and some custom data for your deployment. For now, let's just leave the defaults and we can revisit the power of these options in another installment. Finally, in the summary section, you'll note we provide an overview of what is selected, as well as the estimated costs for the server hardware. Please note this cost doesn't include additional charges around licensed operating systems, egress bandwidth, elastic IPs, or other related charges. Costs for these additional items can be found on the deploy.equinix.com site farther down the pricing page we saw earlier with the cost calculator. If you're happy with these selections you've chosen, please hit the Deploy Now button in the lower right-hand corner.
Well, that was easy. While that system is provisioning, should we step through the process for a reserved system as well?
That sounds like a plan to me. For reserved systems, we'll navigate to the Reserved Hardware section at the left of the Metal console. From here, you can select your reserved system from the Configuration dropdown, then select the desired operating system and enter a host name. This is all very similar to the on-demand deployment process we saw earlier, with a slight UI tweak to accommodate the reservation ID selection and remove the hourly cost info. Those are the only required selections, but the optional settings are hidden behind the Configure button that you can see off to the right. The same optional settings we saw in the on-demand workflow are available here. Again, let's leave the defaults and click the Deploy Now button in the lower right-hand corner of the page.
Wow. You really weren't kidding about this only taking a few minutes.
Indeed. I think it might be fair to say that it'll take you more time to fill out the account information than it will to get your first server spun up on Metal.
Awesome. Well, with that, we've introduced the Metal console. We've talked SSH keys and how to associate them with a profile, the difference between on-demand and reserved hardware, and we've gone through our first Metal deployment. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope. No additional nuggets of wisdom from me today, Joey. Thanks again for having me. I look forward to the next one.
Great. Join us on the next installment to connect to these instances using SSH and our SOS out-of-band consoles. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.